Welcome back, everybody, to 31 1980s horror movies for Halloween, where I'm counting down my favorite horror movies from the 1980s. So, we've got another Italian horror movie on the list today, and for number 25, we have the first Lucio Fulci movie on this list, and you're definitely going to see Fulci again in this ranking. And for number 25, we have what I think is Lucio Fulci's most underrated horror movie, and that is The Black Cat. Black cats are one of the main things that are synonymous with Halloween. When you think Halloween, you think of ghosts, jack-o'-lanterns, bats, witches, and black cats. You go around and you look at decorations, you see a lot of witch and black cat decorations. So I think The Black Cat is a good movie to go with on Halloween, especially for Italian horror movie fans, and especially for Lucio Fulci fans.
But he's only a cat.
A cat that sooner or later will kill me. And there's nothing I can do to prevent it.
The thing about this movie is, when it comes to Lucio Fulci, we think of gore. Lucio Fulci is known as the Italian godfather of gore, and he has a lot of bloody movies. But not all of his movies were particularly gory. He had a lot of gory movies, but he also had movies that focused a little more on atmosphere, like Don't Torture a Duckling, Murder Rock, and The Black Cat. This is an atmospheric horror movie, and that's the thing that makes this movie so good. The atmosphere. It feels like a gothic horror movie. I mean, that's what it is. It's a gothic horror movie. And the thing that blows my mind about it is the antagonist in this movie is a kitty cat. As silly as that sounds, the antagonist is a cat. And the movie does such a good job at making this cat intimidating. That sounds silly, I know. I mean, there are a lot of cat-based horror movies out there. I'm actually kind of surprised by how many cat-based horror movies there are. There's Strays, there's The Uncanny, there's The Uninvited, and a few more cat horror movies out there, but I think The Black Cat is definitely the best. We follow this man who has a lot of grudges against people, and he has the ability to communicate with the dead. So what he does is he has the spirits of the dead possess his cat, and then his cat goes out and kills people that he has grudges against. Silly premise, I know, but again, this is a Fulci movie, so the story isn't as important as the atmosphere. There are some quality kills in this movie. They're not the bloodiest kills, but they are very well done, especially again considering the fact that the thing doing these kills is a cat. But they do such a good job at making this cat vicious. It gets to the point where you see the cat on the screen, and you don't go, "Aw," you say, "Oh no." It has all the elements of classic Gothic horror. You have foggy cemeteries. You have these old buildings that feel like castles. I love movies that are able to take a ridiculous premise and make it work. I mean, I love when that ridiculous premise is taken in a ridiculous direction. That can be a lot of fun. But I also respect that when a movie can take a ridiculous premise and make a legitimately good, suspenseful horror movie out of that. Look at the movie It Follows. That's a movie about a sexually transmitted demon. You know, this thing that transfers from person to person by sex. And that's a silly idea, but that movie makes that work. The black cat makes its silly premise work. And I know I'm talking about the cat a lot in this movie, but this cat is legitimately intimidating. I mean, this kitty throws down a lot. There are just scenes where it's ripping people apart, and you believe it. You believe that this cat is legitimately attacking these people. But the performances are good too. I mean, the people in this movie make this ridiculous premise work. If the characters around this cat weren't taking this seriously, it wouldn't be nearly as effective. But they are taking this premise seriously, and that just makes The Black Cat a atmospheric, suspenseful horror movie.
Yes. He brought the key through the air conditioning conduit.
That's absurd. He would have to have thought it out.
I don't have much else to say about The Black Cat. Just the fact that it's a silly idea that works. It's a silly idea that Lucio Fulci makes into a really good horror movie. Hands down, Lucio Fulci's most underrated horror movie, and I think it should be watched for the Halloween season. Just don't go in expecting a straightforward story. Go in expecting an atmospheric, dreamlike story, as is the case with most Lucio Fulci films. And if you're a cat person, I recommend The Black Cat even more. Get together with your kitty, mix up some popcorn and some Fancy Feast, and have a good night.
I didn't want to